Hello, good afternoon, Merry Christmas, December 25th, 2019. And I have a problem because I'm out here with my computer because my phone died. Must have been too cold. Anyway, take a look at that tree over there. That's the highlight of today because I got busy and filled up all the bird feeders today. And all the birds, they were waiting for me to come out. They were sitting on the power lines. They were saying, hey, can you feed us today? It's Christmas. So I got them all filled up. So you can see them. They're around there. They're flying around. Yep. See, they're happy. Happy birds. So I got 6 feeding stations up there right now. So 3 with fat and 3 with bird seed. They are happy birds. Happy birds. Anyway, Christmas. What was I going to share today? Oh yeah, I've been kind of evasive on my last videos. So I just wanted to share something that I've been reading. And I'm actually going to let you know what I've been reading. And maybe not get too deep into it, but I've been reading, and then I find some amazing quotes about my journey. And so I'm going to share a few of those. So first of all, I'm going to let you know the cool books that I've been reading this year. And yeah, I think I recommend all of them, as long as you're not too hung up on staying the same way you are, because these books are thought changers. I'm not going to say life changers. They are mind and thought changers. They change how you think about things. You might have just, that's what they did for me. So I'm just going to throw that out there, that you just might change the way you think. Anyway, I have a list here. There we go. Alrighty. So, We Carry Kevin by Kevin Chandler. Amazing book about one guy who's got a spinal muscular dystrophy or something like that. Okay, he can't walk basically, so I can't remember the whole story because it's been a while since I read a book, what he has. But Kevin Chandler, We Carry Kevin. Amazing story about Kevin and some buddies of his, and he wanted to go see the world, and his buddies took him with them. They built a backpack and they carried him. It's like 60 pounds. That's whatever he's got that's how much he weighs. So his buddies took him to places like the Great Wall of China and around Europe, and got some great videos. If you Google them, you can find the videos. We Carry Kevin, and this is his story about this trip, this amazing trip, about, just being vulnerable. I think is what I got out of this book, that you can be vulnerable and just enjoy life, because you have people in your life that will just carry you. Wow. So there's a good book to read right there. Book that I read probably 2 years ago, and then I kind of dived into a little bit this year, but I still enjoy it. It was called How to Survive a Shipwreck, Jonathan Martin. Found that one on a friend's Facebook page. Read that, the 2017, one of the most traumatic years of my life. Anyway, so yeah, a great book if you've ever been in a shipwreck. So, and the metaphor of the shipwreck. So some amazing stuff in there. Shane Claiborne. If you know Shane Claiborne, he's got some good reads out there, but the one that I dived into of his first was this year, actually, called Executing Grace, and it was all about the death penalty. Just amazing stuff there, and what the Executing Grace it's called, and it's about the nonsense of the death penalty, I guess. But there's a lot of stuff in there, and stories, real stories about how just the death penalty is not really having a purpose, right? So he talks to criminals, death row people that have, family members of death row inmates, some just family members of the people that have been killed by people that are on death row. Stories just have a common thread that the death penalty is not helpful. Forgiveness is helpful. The death penalty, not so much. Great book. Executing Grace, Shane Claiborne. And that leaves me with the big author of the year, and that would be Peter Enns. Peter Enns has a podcast called The Bible for Normal People. He's Dr. Peter Enns, actually. He's got a doctorate in studies from Harvard. He's actually been he's a smart guy, basically. I don't know how to describe him, right? Biblical scholar. And so I've dived into 3 of his books. The first one was Sin of Certainty. And the second one was The Bible Tells Me So, Why Defending Scripture Has Made Us Unable to Read It. That was right where I was at, because that's exactly what happened, right? So I was unable to read the Bible because I felt like I had to defend it, and it just didn't make sense. So that's an amazing book right there. And the other book is one that I just finished, called How the Bible Actually Works, subtitle, in which I explain how an ancient, ambiguous, and diverse book leads us to wisdom rather than answers, and why that's good news. So, Peter Enns, look him up. The podcast is The Bible for Normal People. If you read the Bible and you're okay with what it's in there and believing that everything is in there works for you, that's great. But if you got questions about it, and you're wondering, well, this doesn't work with me, and the God of the Old Testament really doesn't look like the Jesus of the New Testament, those kind of questions, amazing resource, amazing podcast, amazing books. My goal is to basically be able to read that book again without all the problems I've been having trying to read the book, right? So that's the goal, and it's definitely opened up my insights on that one. I like it. I'm enjoying the community. I support the podcast, so then I'm also part of a community there where you can actually communicate with other people around the world or North America that have the same questions you do. It's amazing. You go in there and they got all different kinds of in the forum. They got different topics and stuff like that. It's kind of cool. So, and oh man, the one that I'm currently in, just about finished. That's really messing with me. It's called God Can't, by Thomas Jay Oord. Subtitle: How to Believe in God and Love After Tragedy, Abuse, and Other Evils. Wow. So that book is humongous for me right now, because basically it's taking the idea of the God is in control and throwing it right out the window. That's right. God is not in control. And love doesn't make sense with a controlling God. Love makes sense with an uncontrolling God. Called God Can't. Thomas Jay Oord. Jay, Thomas, and Jayyoord. Anyway, Google that one. God Can't. Why the Bible? Oh no, that was the other one. What did I say? How to Believe in God and Love After Tragedy, Abuse, and Other Evils. Very helpful for me on my journey. So there you go. There's a plethora of reading material that I've been diving into this year that's just been helpful. And if anything, it's going to drive me closer to following God, not farther away. And here's another secret. I'm also following and supporting the podcast called Humanize Me. And that is with Bart Campolo. For you guys who know who Tony Campolo is, Bart Campolo is his son. And another great book, but I read this one a couple years ago, called Why I Left, Why I Stayed. A book with Tony and Bart. They co-wrote it together. They had questions. Another amazing read. Great for if you want to have conversations with people who are not on the same page as you are. Great conversations. I love the podcasts because, who doesn't need to learn how to be more human? And it's not about being godless. It's about, we got to embrace humanity. There's so many things on that podcast that are very helpful for my journey as well, right? And I'm not on the same page as Bart Campolo. I still believe in love, and I still believe in a creator. So, but I definitely enjoy the conversations that he's having. So check him out, Bart Campolo, and Humanize Me is the podcast. So there you go. There you have it. That's what I've been diving into this year. So yeah, I'm out of the box. There you go. So if any of that's helpful, that's great. Let me know. I got some good stuff. I got a little book here. It's called Be Wild. That's my journal for putting all my fun little quotes in there. And the first one, this is the cool one. I'll give you this one. Faith is a journey, not a fortress to be protected. That was Peter Enns out of the Bible for Normal People. And the broader we cast our net, the deeper we wind up owning our own thoughts. Peter Enns again. When you're hiding behind loads of illusion, you don't have time to smile anymore. Richard Rohr. See, there's somebody else I got to get into. I haven't got into him yet, but I listen to his podcast too. Richard Rohr. There's somebody else. He's a great thinker. Amazing stuff comes out of his mouth too. So that's kind of where I'm at. There's all kinds of... Oh yeah, I got a good one. Another cool book on the radar soon. It's actually out already. I just haven't read it yet. Another Wayne Jacobsen read, but not just Wayne Jacobsen. It's Wayne Jacobsen with Bob Prater, Arnita Taylor, I'm trying because I didn't write it down. You see, that's what happened. Brain fart. Anyway, The Language of Healing. For a polarized nation. The Language of Healing for a Polarized Nation. I listened to the first chapter because they did an audio thing with it, and it's amazing. These three people are very, very talking about the language of healing, and dealing with issues with race and culture and sexuality and things that have been dividing our culture. That'll be another great book to read. But like I say, it's in the lineup for me. When I get it, I'll definitely dive into it. Wayne Jacobsen's been another great author for me and somebody that I've just enjoyed reading, so I'm really looking forward to that. Bob Prater has another amazing podcast. I love podcasts. Bob Prater is the guy that teamed up with his Muslim friend Ahmad Mirza, and they did a podcast called The Christian and a Muslim Walk into a Studio. So that was really good. I enjoy conversations with people that, again, are on different pages, because I want to learn to have conversations with people that are on different pages and appreciate them and just say, hey, you know what? I can have a conversation with you. I don't have to change you, and I don't have to think you're going to change me. But let's have a conversation. Let's be okay with where we're at on this journey, and let's not make that an agenda, right? Because I grew up in a culture that the agenda was we needed to change people, because if they weren't like us, then they were wrong. But I'm not really wanting to be there anymore. I want to be in a place where I can enjoy people for their journey and learn from them, because everybody's got a journey. Isn't that amazing? Yay! Oh, I'm at 13 minutes already. Holy cadoodle. Anyway, now I got to find out if I'm going to load this one. So that's all right. That's my Christmas message. Probably not as long as the Queen's going to give, but anyway. I learned something about the Queen. The Queen and Prince Philip have been married for 72 some years. That's huge. Anyway, wow. Yeah, anyway. Alrighty. Well, that's about it. So, is there any other good, interesting quotes that I have for you? Not really. A lot of them come from the books that I just mentioned. So if I read them, then you're going to say, what's that? So just read the books and you'll get all the quotes that I got in here. God's nature is love, and love never controls. God would have to deny his love to control others, but God can't do that. That is from the book God Can't by Thomas Jay Oord. Anyway, so, alrighty, we're going to be running here at 15 minutes, but that's the length of a good sermon, but not like I like to preach. I'm just out here, so. If you want to hang in there with me, way to go. That'd be awesome. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put some in the comments on my YouTube video. I'll actually put the books that I talked about and maybe link them up for you if that works. I don't know how to do it. I'm just going to put that in the notes. So you can go into the YouTube video and check that out. That'd be awesome. Alrighty. We're at 15 minutes in 3, 2, 1. Merry Christmas!